So you're considering term limits for justices. Term limits for justices. So there is an argument that the judiciary has grown too big for its britches. Once appointed, judges of the Supreme Court serve for life during good behavior. You've already covered this. Once they are there, there is really no check on the Supreme Court outside of malfeasance, right? They can be impeached for treason, of course. But the only way to correct, and I use that term loosely, the only way to correct an opinion of the Supreme Court is to have 2/3 of Congress propose an amendment, or 2/3 of the state legislature, right? You can amend the Constitution, and then the court has to follow the Constitution, or you could have justices sort of supplant one another. You could appoint them, they could retire, just not by happenstance necessarily, but you could get a different mix on the court who could overturn Supreme Court precedent. Supreme Court precedent only has two avenues, and they're extraordinarily difficult. There is no appeal, really, of an opinion in the Supreme Court. Now, this independence is not necessarily a bad thing, but there has been, over the years, a lot of discussion and articles written, and I wanted to show you this. This is, now it's just a House of Representatives bill as of today. It was introduced into the House on September 29th of 2020, and it is the Supreme Court Term Limits and Regular Appointments Act of 2020. I'm going to read it for you. It's not that long, and then I want you to consider it. Does this fix problems? Does it solve issues? First of all, you might need to sort of surface what those issues are. Is this a good idea or a bad idea? A good idea or a bad idea? So this is a proposed bill. So this bill establishes staggered 18-year terms. So we're talking about 18-year terms for Supreme Court justices, and limits the Senate's advice and consent authority in relation to the appointment of justices. That is, the advice and consent authority is waived if the Senate does not act within 120 days of a nomination. So this goes all the way back to Marbury versus Madison. So you can force the Senate basically by its silence. They waive advice and consent. You can force their hand if they don't say no or yes within 120 days. So then, this is also something for you to consider. Make sure you've read through this and you understand it. This idea of a senior justice. This is sort of what happens if language here, but this is what I want you to focus on. It is a staggered 18-year term for Supreme Court justices. Staggered 18-year term for Supreme Court justices. So I want you to think about this, and using what you have read so far, what you've learned so far, what opinions you have formed or perhaps reformed. I want you to answer the discussion. I think it's interesting. This is actually a bill that has been submitted. It is H.R. 8424. Not very long, but what effect would this have? What would this fix? What would it harm? Lots of things to think about. And then also, do you think that this would pass? Do you think that enough sort of bipartisan support for this bill would exist? And do you think the president would sign it? It has benefits, perhaps, that are not necessarily on one side of the V or the other. So think about that